I'm holding a positive pregnancy test in my hand, the one my wife took 3 hours after landing from Costa Rica, and I know with absolute medical certainty that this is impossible. I had a vasectomy 2 years ago. Our best friends watched me hobble around their living room with an ice pack on my crotch for 3 days afterward. The doctor confirmed it 6 months later, 0 sperm count, permanent, done. But the test in Emma's shaking hands has 2 pink lines. She's standing in our bathroom doorway, backlit by the vanity lights, and her face is doing something I've never seen before. Not quite fear, not quite guilt. Something worse. Like she's watching herself from outside her body, trying to figure out what expression fits. "Say something," she whispers. I can't. My hands have gone numb. The bathroom suddenly feels too small, like the walls are leaning in. I look down at the test again. Those 2 pink lines aren't fading, aren't blurring, aren't turning into one line like I keep hoping they will if I just stare hard enough. "Jake." Her voice cracks on my name. I can't explain this. I set the test down on the counter, carefully, like it might explode. My mind is doing math it doesn't want to do. Emma got back from Costa Rica yesterday morning. She went with her best friend Sarah for a girls' trip. 5 days, 4 nights at some all-inclusive resort. I stayed home. I worked. I fed the cat. I trusted my wife. "When?" I ask. The word comes out flat. "When what? When did this happen?" Emma's eyes fill with tears, but she doesn't blink. I don't know. That's when I pull out my phone and open our banking app. I scroll to Emma's credit card, the one she used for the trip. Resort charges, dinner, spa, and their bar charges. 11:13 p.m. to 1:47 a.m. on March 3rd, $47 worth of drinks. I turn the phone toward her. 6 hours. You have 6 hours that night you can't account for." She stares at the screen. Her hand comes up to her mouth. "Emma." I'm trying to keep my voice steady, but it's cracking at the edges. "If you need to tell me something, I went to the swim-up bar," she says quickly, too quickly. "With Sarah, we had margaritas. We talked to some people. I remember..." She stops. Her face goes pale. "I remember the first few drinks. They were really sweet, like too sweet. And then what? And then I remember waking up in my room the next morning. The silence between us is so heavy I can hear the bathroom fan humming. I can hear the neighbor's dog barking 3 houses down. I can hear my own heartbeat in my ears. If you've ever had your reality shattered in a single moment, something you knew to be true suddenly wasn't, leave a comment. Just say, 'I understand. You're not alone.' I grab my keys. We're going to Marcus and Sarah's. Now." 20 minutes later, we're sitting in Marcus and Sarah's living room. The same living room where I recovered from my vasectomy. The same couch where Marcus brought me ice packs and made jokes about my firing blanks now. He's not joking anymore. Sarah's on the edge of the armchair, hands clasped so tight her knuckles are white. Marcus is standing. He can't sit still. He keeps pacing behind the couch, running his hands through his hair. "Okay," Marcus says, and his voice has that forced calm quality of someone trying not to panic. Let's walk through this logically. I've got Emma's credit card statements printed out. I've got the resort itinerary she'd made before the trip, that glossy brochure with her handwritten notes in the margins. Pool 2 p.m., dinner 7 p.m. The paper still smells like sunscreen and humidity. I spread them out on the coffee table. "March 3rd, I say, tapping the date. You and Emma went to the swim-up bar around 11 p.m. Sarah nods. "We did. It was our last night. We wanted to have fun." "Who else was there?" "Lots of people," Emma says softly. "It was crowded. Spring break crowd mostly, college kids." "Anyone you talked to specifically?" Emma and Sarah exchange a glance. Something passes between them, something they're not saying. "There was a bartender," Sarah says slowly. "Diego, he was really friendly. kept making us drinks. On the house, he said, because we were beautiful American ladies. Marcus stops pacing. A bartender named Diego. And a photographer, Emma adds, and her voice gets quieter. The resort photographer. He was taking pictures of people at the bar. He offered to take some of us. I pull out my phone and scroll to Emma's photo album from the trip. Most of it is standard vacation stuff. Beach selfies, sunset shots, plates of food. But then I find it. A photo Sarah must have taken. Emma and Marcus standing by the pool, both holding drinks. The timestamp in the corner, 11:47 p.m., March 31st, 2024. I zoom in until the pixels blur. Emma's smile looks normal. Marcus looks normal. Everything looks normal except it isn't. I slide the phone across the coffee table toward Marcus. He picks it up, stares at it. His face goes from confused to pale to something darker. What the hell is this? His voice is sharp now. You tell me, I say. Jake, I was at the bar that night, but I wasn't. He looks at Emma. We weren't. Then explain the photo, I say, and I hate how cold my voice sounds, but I can't stop it. Explain why my wife is pregnant and I've had a vasectomy, and you were the only person I know who was anywhere near her during the conception window. Sarah stands up so fast her chair tips backward. Are you accusing my husband? I'm asking for an explanation. Marcus sets the phone down like it's contaminated. I talked to Emma for maybe 10 minutes. She was looking for Sarah. I was looking for the bartender to close my tab. We stood by the pool. We talked. That's it. 10 minutes, I repeat. 10 minutes. And then I went back to my room. Sarah was already there. We went to bed. I look at Sarah. Is that true? Yes. But her voice wavers just slightly, just enough. Emma's hands are shaking now. She's staring at the photo on my phone like she's trying to pull a memory out of it. I remember talking to Marcus. I remember the pool lights, but I don't remember going back to my room. I don't remember. Oh my God. Sarah's voice cuts through everything. She's staring at Emma with this look of dawning horror. Emma, do you remember what you were wearing the next morning? Emma blinks. What? What were you wearing when you woke up? My sundress, the blue one. Why? Was it on right? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Emma's face crumples. No, I thought I was just drunk. I thought I put it on wrong when I got back, but it was on backwards and my sandals were on the wrong feet. That's when Sarah screams. Not a scream exactly. More like a sound that's half sob, half rage. If you slept with my husband, Emma, I swear to God. And Emma collapses. Not fainting. Collapses. Just her legs give out and she's on the floor, curled into herself, shaking. I'm beside her before I can think. My arms around her. She's not crying. She's not making any sound at all. She's just shaking. I didn't. She whispers into my chest. Jake, I didn't. I don't remember. I don't remember anything. Marcus is frozen. Sarah is crying now, loud, angry sobs. And I'm holding my wife on our best friend's living room floor, trying to figure out if my marriage just ended or if something worse happened. Something none of us saw coming. The next morning, I drive Emma to her OB-GYN. Dr. Patricia Chen has been Emma's doctor for 6 years. She's seen us through a miscarriage 3 years ago. She knows our history. She knows about my vasectomy. We sit in the examination room, Emma on the table, me in the chair by the wall, and Dr. Chen reviews the blood test results. She's not saying anything, just reading. Her pen underlines something once, twice, 3 times. Finally, she closes the file. Emma, she says, and her voice has that careful quality doctors use when they're about to say something that will change your life. Your beta HCG levels indicate you're approximately 8 to 9 weeks pregnant. 8 to 9 weeks, I repeat. So conception would have been early March, first week, most likely. I pull up the calendar on my phone, show her. March 3rd, that's the only night that makes sense. My wife was in Costa Rica, I was here, and I've had a vasectomy. Dr. Chen looks at Emma, really looks at her. Emma, I need to ask you some questions, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Can you do that? Emma nods. Her hands are gripping the edge of the examination table so hard I can see the tendons in her wrists. Do you remember the night of March 3rd? Parts of it. What parts? I remember being at the bar. I remember drinks, sweet drinks. I remember... Emma's voice catches. I remember talking to people, and then I remember waking up the next morning. Do you remember going back to your room? No. Do you remember getting into bed? No. Do you remember anyone being in your room with you? Emma's face goes white. No, but what? Emma pulls up the sleeve of her shirt. There are faint bruises on her upper arm. Yellow-green now, fading. 4 small ovals, finger-shaped. I noticed these the day after, Emma says quietly. I thought maybe I bumped into something. I thought... She stops, takes a breath. And my wrists, they had bruises too. Here. She shows Dr. Chen. The bruises are nearly gone, but you can still see the shadows of them if you look closely. Dr. Chen's expression doesn't change, but something shifts behind her eyes. She makes a note in Emma's chart. Then she looks at me. Mr. Thompson, I'm going to need to speak with Emma privately for a few minutes. I start to protest, but Emma puts her hand on mine. It's okay, Jake. Wait outside. I do. I sit in the waiting room surrounded by pregnant women and parenting magazines and try not to think about what's happening in that room. Try not to think about the bruises. Try not to think about the timeline that doesn't add up, except it does in the worst possible way. 15 minutes later, Dr. Chen calls me back in. Emma's been crying. Her eyes are red, but she's not crying anymore. She's just empty, hollow. Dr. Chen hands me a piece of paper. It's the blood test results, 3 pages of numbers and medical terms I don't understand. But at the bottom of the final page, there's a note in Dr. Chen's handwriting. Patient reports significant memory gaps surrounding estimated conception date. Physical markers suggest possible non-consensual encounter. Recommended police consultation, forensic examination, trauma counseling. I read it twice, 3 times. Dr. Chen closes the file, looks at both of us. Emma, I need to ask you something, and I want you to take your time answering. Is there any night, any moment you can't fully remember? Emma's voice, when it comes, is barely a whisper. March 3rd, the swim-up bar. I remember the first 3 drinks. I remember the 4th one tasted wrong, sweeter than the others, thicker somehow. And then she stops, swallows. And then nothing, just nothing, until I woke up the next morning. Have you ever questioned your own memories? Wondered if what you remember is real? This is why we believe survivors, because doubt is a weapon used against them. Dr. Chen nods slowly. Emma, based on what you've told me and what I'm seeing in your physical examination and blood work, I believe... She pauses, chooses her words carefully. I believe we may be looking at a drug-facilitated sexual assault. The words hang in the air like a verdict. Emma makes a sound, not quite a sob, not quite a gasp, just a sound of something breaking. I don't remember standing up, don't remember crossing the room, but suddenly I'm beside Emma, my hand on her shoulder, and she's shaking again, that same silent shaking from last night. What do we do? I ask, and my voice sounds like it's coming from somewhere far away. We document everything, Dr. Chen says. We run more tests, and we call the police. That night, Emma can't sleep, neither can I. We lie in bed staring at the ceiling, not touching. The space between us feels like an ocean. Jake, she whispers into the darkness, I need to show you something. She gets up, goes to her nightstand, pulls out a small notebook, the moleskin journal she always takes on trips. She opens it to a page dated March 4th, 2024, the day after. Her handwriting is shakier than usual, the letters slanting and irregular. She hands it to me. I turn on the bedside lamp. The entry reads, "I feel so sick. Why can't I remember getting back to the room? My wrists have bruises, purple, thumb-sized. Emma, what did you do? What happened? Why won't my body tell me what my mind can't remember?" Below that, another line, written in heavier ink, pressed so hard the pen tore through to the next page. Something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. I read it twice. The words blur. I realize I'm crying. "I thought I was just drunk," Emma whispers. She's sitting on the edge of the bed now, her back to me. "I thought I was stupid. I thought, God, Jake, I thought maybe I did something. Maybe I made a choice I couldn't remember. Maybe I... Stop!" I set the journal down, move closer to her. "Emma, if someone hurt you, I don't know. That's the worst part. I don't know." She turns to face me, and in the lamplight, I can see it all written on her face. The shame, the fear, the confusion, the guilt for something that might not have even been her fault. "We're parked outside the marriage counselor's office," I say, even though we're in our bedroom, even though this moment feels too big for where we are. "We're supposed to go in, but before we do, I need to say something." She waits. "I don't know what happened that night," I tell her, "but I know you, and whatever happened, whatever we find out, I'm not leaving. We don't abandon each other. Not for this, not for anything." Emma's face crumples. She leans forward and I catch her, hold her. She cries into my shoulder, finally cries, really cries, and I feel her tears soaking through my shirt, warm against my skin. "I woke up in my clothes," she says between sobs, "but they were on backwards. My shirt was inside out. My underwear was..." She can't finish the sentence. I hold her tighter. Outside, the neighbor's dog starts barking. A car drives past, headlights sweeping across our bedroom wall. The world keeps turning, keeps moving, keeps pretending everything is normal. But nothing is normal anymore. And somewhere in a timeline I'm starting to piece together, someone hurt my wife. Someone erased her memory. Someone left her to wake up alone, confused, blaming herself. If you've ever kept a journal during a dark time, leave a comment. Sometimes writing is the only witness we have. I pull back just enough to look at Emma's face. Tomorrow, we hire a private investigator, we get our own evidence, and we find out what really happened. She nods against my chest. "And Emma?" "Yeah?" "Whatever we find out, whoever did this, they're going to answer for it." Her journal is still open on the bed between us, that torn page where she pressed too hard on the word wrong. The ink looks black in the lamplight, like dried blood, like a warning she wrote to herself that she couldn't fully understand until now. I close the journal carefully, set it aside, because tomorrow we stop doubting. Tomorrow we start hunting. Rebecca Torres comes recommended by Dr. Chen, former FBI, now private investigation, specializing in cases like ours. Cases where the victim can't remember, where the evidence is buried under time and distance and deliberate erasure. She sits across from us in her office, a converted brownstone in downtown, and listens without interrupting while Emma tells the story again. Every time Emma tells it, she remembers a little more, or thinks she does. It's hard to tell where memory ends and construction begins. "The resort was called Paraíso del Sol," Emma says. "Paradise of the Sun. It's about an hour north of San Jose, all-inclusive, 5-star reviews." Rebecca writes this down. "And you said there was a bartender, Diego. He was charming, very attentive. He kept saying we were his favorite customers." "Did he make the drinks himself?" Emma pauses, thinks. "Yes, always, even when the bar was crowded. He'd wave off the other bartenders and make ours himself." Rebecca underlines something in her notes. "And the photographer?" "I don't remember his name," Sarah says. "She's come with us, insisted on coming. He just said he worked for the resort. He had a camera, one of those big professional ones with the long lens. Rebecca opens her laptop, pulls up a file. I've already started preliminary research on the resort. They have a reputation for being very protective of their image. No incident reports filed with local police in the last 5 years, which is statistically impossible for a resort that hosts 5,000 guests a month. She turns the laptop toward us. On the screen is a spreadsheet, security camera logs from the resort, obtained through what she calls professional channels. My eyes scan down the rows until I see it. Camera 12, third floor hallway, the hallway where Emma's room was. Status, offline, March 3 to 4, 22:45, 03:20. Reason, equipment malfunction. Cameras 11 and 13, the ones on either side, operational. Convenient malfunction, Rebecca says, echoing my thoughts. Only camera covering that specific hallway, 4 hours and 35 minutes of blind spot. Emma's hand finds mine under the table, squeezes. There's more. Rebecca clicks to another file, pulls up a photo. Security footage from the lobby. Timestamp 23:34, March 3rd, 2024. The image is grainy, black and white, but clear enough. A man in resort staff uniform, polo shirt with the Paraiso del Sol logo. He's carrying a camera, and he's walking behind someone I recognize, Emma, her blue sundress, her beach bag over her shoulder, following her. I pulled every frame I could access, Rebecca says quietly. He appears in 14 different shots that night, always within 20 feet of either you or Sarah, always with the camera. Sarah makes a small sound, not quite a gasp, not quite a sob. Rebecca slides another photo across the table, a closer shot, enhanced, zoomed in on the man's face. Handsome, professional smile, camera around his neck. Do you recognize him? Emma stares at the photo. Her breathing changes, faster, shallower. I don't know. God, why can't I remember? Because you weren't meant to, Rebecca says, and her voice is gentle but firm. Emma, based on what I'm seeing, the timeline, the camera malfunction, the way this man positioned himself, I believe what happened to you was premeditated, planned. This wasn't opportunistic. This was hunting. The word lands like a stone in water. Have you ever had to become a detective in your own life? Had to investigate your own trauma because the systems that should protect you didn't? I look at the photo again, the man with the camera, and I think, I'm going to find you. Whatever it takes, wherever you are, I'm going to find you. 3 days later, Sarah calls Emma. Her voice on the phone is strange, tight, controlled, like she's trying not to scream. Can you come over? She asks. Both of you. I need to talk to you about something. When we arrive, Marcus meets us at the door. His face is drawn, exhausted. She's in the living room, he says quietly. She's been like this for 2 days. Won't tell me what's wrong. Just keeps saying she needs to talk to Emma. Sarah is sitting on the couch, her phone in her hands. She looks up when we enter, and I've never seen her look like this. Hollow, haunted, like someone carved out everything inside her and left just the shell. Sarah? Emma sits beside her. What's going on? Sarah doesn't answer right away. She's staring at her phone screen, her thumb hovering over something. When we were in Costa Rica, she finally says, I got a text message from someone who said they worked for resort photo services. They offered me a complimentary sunset photo shoot. Professional portraits, champagne included. Emma goes very still beside her. I thought it was a nice gesture, a perk, so I said yes. Sarah's voice is cracking now, breaking at the edges. The shoot was March 5th, 8 p.m., Beach Cabana 3. She turns her phone toward us, shows us the recovered messages, the ones she'd deleted but a forensic tech managed to restore. The messages are from a contact labeled Resort Photo Services. The first message, Hi Sarah, complimentary sunset shoot tonight, 8 p.m., Beach Cabana 3, champagne provided. Diego. Sarah's response, Sounds amazing. See you then. That little sunset emoji looks obscene now, like a marker on a grave. I went, Sarah whispers. I went to the cabana. He was there, the photographer, the one from Rebecca's pictures. He had the champagne already poured, 2 glasses. He said we should toast before we started shooting to capturing beauty. Emma reaches for Sarah's hand. Sarah lets her take it. I remember the first glass, Sarah continues. Her voice is barely audible now. It was so sweet, almost too sweet, like someone had dumped sugar into it. I remember laughing about it, and then she stops, breathes. And then he poured a second glass, said we should celebrate, and I remember lifting it to my mouth. I remember the taste, that same sickly sweet taste. And then, nothing? Emma asks, and her voice sounds like it's coming from underwater. Nothing. Sarah looks at Emma, and her eyes are full of tears that won't fall. I woke up in my room the next morning. My dress was on backwards. My camera roll had 50 pictures I didn't remember taking, and I felt... Her voice breaks completely. I felt wrong. In my body. Wrong. Marcus has gone pale. He's standing behind the couch, his hand on Sarah's shoulder, and I watch him process what she's saying. Watch the realization hit him like a truck. Sarah, he says, and his voice is shaking. Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought it was my fault, Sarah sobs. I thought I drank too much. I thought, God, Emma, I thought I was stupid. I thought I made bad choices. And then you came back pregnant, and Jake mentioned the vasectomy, and I started remembering that you went to the same bar where I met Diego the first night. And I realized she can't finish. She dissolves into tears. Real tears now, years of shame and fear and self-blame, pouring out all at once. Emma pulls Sarah into her arms, holds her, and they cry together. 2 women who didn't know they'd been hurt by the same man in the same place, 2 nights apart. To every survivor watching this, I believe you. Type, I believe you, if someone in your life is a survivor. Let them see they're not alone. I look at Marcus. His face is a mirror of mine. Rage and helplessness and horror all mixed together. It happened to her too, he says, and it's not a question. Different night, same champagne, I finish. Same blank space where the memory should be. Sarah pulls back from Emma just enough to speak. Emma, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't warn you. I'm so sorry I... Stop, Emma says firmly. She cups Sarah's face in her hands. You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing. Do you hear me? This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. Sarah's face crumples again, and Emma holds her tighter. We don't abandon each other, Emma says, and I hear the motif again, stronger this time, weighted with new meaning. We don't abandon each other. Ever. I pull out my phone, call Rebecca. She answers on the second ring. We have another victim, I tell her. Same resort, same perpetrator, different night. There's a pause on the other end. Then, send me everything you have. This just became a pattern case. Rebecca works fast. Within 48 hours, she's identified him. His name is Diego Rafael Martinez, contract photographer hired by Paraíso del Sol in February 2024, terminated in April 2024, 1 month after Emma and Sarah left. We're back in Rebecca's office, all 4 of us this time. Marcus hasn't left Sarah's side since the confession, and I understand that now. The guilt of not knowing, the guilt of not protecting, it's eating him alive. Rebecca spreads out the employee file on her desk. 47 pages, obtained through what she carefully doesn't explain. Diego's ID badge photo stares up at us. That same professional smile, that same camera around his neck. He was only with the resort for 2 months, Rebecca says, but in that time 8 complaints were filed against him, post-termination only. While he was employed, nothing, not a single report. 8 complaints, Emma repeats slowly. 8 women. Rebecca flips through the pages, all filed after he left, All investigated, and then she taps a stamp at the bottom of the final page. Closed. Employee no longer with company. The resort's official position is that since he doesn't work there anymore, it's not their problem. They protected the resort, Marcus says, his voice hard, not the victims. Rebecca nods. I've contacted Detective Maria Rodriguez with the San Jose Police. She's heading up a task force on tourist-related sexual assaults. When I mention Diego's name, she pauses, looks at each of us. She said, "You're the fourth couple to contact us about him this month." The room goes silent. 4 couples, 4 women, plus Emma, plus Sarah. That's at least 6 victims, probably more. How many? I ask, and my voice sounds like gravel. How many do they think there are? Rebecca pulls up another file on her laptop, a criminal complaint drafted but not yet filed. Based on current testimony and evidence, they're estimating 7 confirmed victims, 12 total investigating. 7 confirmed, 12 investigating. I look at Emma. She's staring at Diego's photo with an expression I can't read. Not fear, not even anger. Something colder, something more like recognition, like she's finally putting a face to the void in her memory. What happens now? Sarah asks. Now we build the case, Rebecca says. We document everything. We get Emma and Sarah examined by forensic specialists. We collect every piece of evidence we can, and then she closes the file. Then we make sure he can never do this again. Dr. James Park is a forensic toxicologist. He specializes in drug-facilitated assaults, cases where the evidence is buried in the body, waiting to be found. He meets with Emma at a private lab. I wait outside again, pacing the hallway, checking my phone every 30 seconds for no reason. When they finally call me back in, Emma looks exhausted. Dr. Park looks grim. We ran a full panel, he says, spreading the results across the table. 3 pages of numbers, graphs, chemical compounds I don't understand. Hair follicle analysis, specifically. It's the only test that can detect certain substances weeks after ingestion. He points to a highlighted section. Emma's hair sample, 3 centimeter segments from the scalp. We found metabolites consistent with flunitrazepam. Flunitrazepam, I repeat. Rohypnol, he says, a benzodiazepine, street name, roofies. The metabolites we detected indicate she ingested approximately 2 to 3 milligrams approximately 8 to 9 weeks before the sample was collected. The timeline fits. March 3rd, 9 weeks ago. Concentration? Rebecca asks. She's here too, taking notes, building the case brick by brick. Consistent with an incapacitating dose, Dr. Park says. His voice is clinical, detached, but there's an edge of anger underneath. At this concentration, the victim would experience rapid sedation, muscle relaxation, amnesia, and loss of consciousness within 20 to 30 minutes of ingestion. The effects can last 8 to 12 hours. 8 to 12 hours. The swim-up bar, the sweet drinks, the blank space in Emma's memory. Here's a question I wrestled with. When someone can't remember when they were chemically erased, who do we believe? The body's evidence or the doubt planted by society? Leave your thoughts. Dr. Park looks directly at me. His eyes are steady, unflinching. Mr. Thompson, your wife was chemically incapacitated. She could not have consented to anything that occurred during that time period. What happened to her was not a choice. It was not a mistake. It was assault. The words hit like a physical blow. Emma makes a small sound beside me. Relief and grief mixed together, inseparable. The body remembers what the mind doesn't, Dr. Park continues. Even when someone drugs you to forget, your body keeps the evidence, the bruises, the trauma, the chemical traces. Your wife's body has been trying to tell her what happened. Now we have the proof. I reach for Emma's hand. She's crying, but silently, tears just streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispers to Dr. Park. "Thank you for for making it real. It was always real, he says gently. Now it's just documented. 2 weeks later, we're sitting in Dr. Linda Hoffman's office, our marriage counselor. We've been seeing her twice a week since the investigation started. She's the one who helped us decide to take the next step, the DNA test. The sealed envelope sits on the coffee table between us, white official with the Gene Trust Laboratories return address. We've been staring at it for 5 minutes without touching it. Whenever you're ready, Dr. Hoffman says quietly. Emma picks up the envelope. Her fingernail slides under the seal. That tiny ripping sound feels huge in the quiet room. She pulls out 3 pages, scans the first, the second. On the third page, in bold text, I see it before she reads it aloud. Probability of paternity 0.0%. Alleged father excluded. 0.0%. Not Marcus, not me, not anyone we knew. Emma reads it twice. Then she looks at me and tears are streaming down her face. I'm so sorry you had to doubt. I'm so sorry this happened to us. I pull her close. You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing. The question, Dr. Hoffman says gently, is what happens next. The pregnancy. You have options, Emma, and whatever you choose, it's your choice. Emma is quiet for a long time. Her hand drifts to her stomach, still flat, no visible signs yet. Just cells dividing, growing, a biological consequence of violence. I can't, she finally whispers. I can't carry this. I can't. Her voice breaks. I know what people will say. I know some people will judge me, but I can't do it. I can't give birth to evidence, to... Stop, I tell her. You don't have to justify this to anyone. Not to me, not to anyone. She looks at me, searching my face for, what, judgment? Disappointment? She won't find it. I want to heal, she says. I want my body to be mine again. I want... She takes a shaky breath. I want to choose me, choose us, choose healing. Healing isn't linear. It's not pretty. If you're in the middle of something dark right now, trying to choose yourself, you're choosing survival. That's enough. Dr. Hoffman hands Emma a tissue. Do you want time to think about it? No. Emma's voice is stronger now, certain. I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks. I know what I need to do. That night, Emma writes a letter. She sits at the kitchen table with her journal, the same moleskin from Costa Rica, and she writes for an hour straight. When she's done, she folds the paper into thirds, carefully, like origami. She hands it to me. Will you read it? I unfold it. Her handwriting is steadier now, more controlled. But I can see where the pen pressed hard, where emotion leaked through. The letter begins, "To the child that won't be." I read the whole thing, every word. It's the most honest, raw, painful thing I've ever read. She writes about shame and choice and bodily autonomy and trauma and healing. She writes about not wanting to bring a child into the world as a consequence of violence. She writes about choosing herself, not out of selfishness, but out of survival. The letter ends. I hope you understand that choosing not to bring you into this world wasn't about not loving you. It was about loving myself enough to heal. It was about choosing the life I want to build, not the one forced upon me. I choose me. I choose us. I choose healing. I fold the letter back up, hand it to her. My vision is blurred with tears. It's perfect, I tell her. You're perfect. 3 days later, I hold Emma's hand in the clinic waiting room. She's calm, calmer than I've seen her in weeks. Are you sure? I ask one last time. She looks at me. I've never been more sure of anything. When they call her name, she stands, kisses my forehead. I'll see you soon. And she walks through those doors, into the procedure room, into her choice, into the beginning of healing. I wait. And while I wait, I think about Diego Martinez, about the 7 confirmed victims, the 12 investigating, about the system that failed them, about the resort that covered it up. I think this ends now. One way or another, this ends. 2 hours later, Emma comes back out. She's pale, tired, but there's something different in her eyes. Something like relief. Like she can breathe fully for the first time in weeks. "Let's go home," she says, and we do. Detective Maria Rodriguez has kind eyes and a firm handshake. She's been working sex crimes in the San Jose area for 12 years. She's seen cases like ours before, too many of them. We meet via Zoom, all four of us on our end, Detective Rodriguez and a Costa Rican federal prosecutor on theirs. The prosecutor's name is Rafael Montero. He looks tired. He looks angry. "First," Detective Rodriguez says, "I want to thank you for coming forward. I know this is difficult. I know it's invasive. But what you're doing, it matters." She pulls up a document on screen share. A criminal complaint, 73 pages. The header reads, "United States versus Diego Rafael Martinez." "We've been building a case against Mr. Martinez for 6 months," she continues. "But until now, we haven't had enough witnesses willing to testify. Too much shame, too much fear, too much..." She pauses, chooses her words carefully. "Too much of victims blaming themselves." "How many victims are there?" Marcus asks. Prosecutor Montero answers. His English is accented but clear. 7 confirmed willing to testify in court. 12 total we are investigating, but we believe the real number is higher. Maybe 20, maybe 30, we don't know. 20, maybe 30. I feel Emma tense beside me. "All tourists?" Sarah asks quietly. "Si, all tourists. All women traveling alone or with female friends. All between ages 23 and 38. All reporting the same pattern." He ticks off on his fingers. Sweet drinks at the bar, friendly photographer offering complimentary shoots, gaps in memory, waking up in their rooms with clothes wrong, bruises, feeling violated but not able to say how or why. "And the resort?" I ask. Detective Rodriguez's expression hardens. "Paraíso del Sol is being investigated separately for obstruction and negligence. They knew. Multiple complaints filed internally. They terminated Martinez, paid him a severance package, and let him walk. No police report, no warning to guests, nothing. They protected their reputation," Emma says, and her voice is cold. "Not us." "Yes." Detective Rodriguez looks directly at Emma through the screen. "And that's why we need you. Your testimony, your evidence, the toxicology reports, the DNA results, the medical records, everything you have. It helps us build a case that can't be ignored." Prosecutor Montero leans forward. "Mr. Martinez is currently in Mexico City. We have been tracking him. We have evidence he is working at another resort under different name. If we can file formal charges with enough evidence, we can request extradition. We can stop him before he hurts more women." "What do you need from us?" I ask. "Everything," Detective Rodriguez says simply. "Your statements, Sarah's statements, your willingness to testify, in depositions first, possibly in court later, your medical records, Rebecca's investigation files, every piece of evidence you have." Emma looks at Sarah. Sarah looks at Emma. Some silent conversation passes between them. Then Emma nods. "You have it. All of it. 7 women found their voices. 12 more are finding theirs. That's the power of one person speaking up. If you know someone who broke their silence, honor them in the comments. Over the next 3 weeks, we give our statements, sit for depositions, hand over every document, every photo, every piece of evidence we've collected. Rebecca coordinates with Detective Rodriguez. Dr. Park sends his toxicology reports. Dr. Chen sends Emma's medical files. The case builds, brick by brick, victim by victim. One morning, Detective Rodriguez calls with an update. "We filed formal charges yesterday," she says, and I can hear the satisfaction in her voice. 7 counts of drug-facilitated sexual assault, 12 counts of sexual assault under investigation, 19 counts of illegal production of pornography without consent. "Pornography?" Emma's voice is sharp. We found his laptop, Detective Rodriguez says quietly. Hidden files, photos and videos of unconscious women. Dated, labeled, organized. Your faces are in there. Sarah's face. 5 other women we've already identified. More we're still working to find. Emma goes white. I watch the realization hit her that somewhere on a hard drive in evidence lockup, there are images of her unconscious body. Images she has no memory of. Images that prove what happened but also violate her all over again. We're using them as evidence only, Detective Rodriguez adds quickly. They'll be sealed. No one outside the investigation and court will see them. And when the trial is over, they'll be destroyed. When is the trial? I ask. That depends on extradition. If Mexico cooperates, and we believe they will, Martinez could be in U.S. custody within 60 days. Trial within 6 months. 60 days, 6 months. And if he's convicted? Sarah asks. Prosecutor Montero's voice comes through the speaker. In Costa Rica, maximum sentence for these crimes is 15 years. But because he targeted U.S. citizens and we have evidence of interstate trafficking, we can try him in U.S. federal court. There, the sentence could be much longer. How much longer? 20 to 30 years, possibly more, depending on victim impact statements and judicial discretion. Emma closes her eyes, takes a breath. When she opens them again, they're clear, determined. Then let's make sure he gets every single year he deserves. 6 months later, we're sitting in a federal courthouse in Miami. Diego Rafael Martinez was extradited 4 months ago. He's been in custody ever since, awaiting trial. The courtroom is packed. 7 victims present, plus their partners, plus families, plus advocates, plus media. The prosecution has spent months building their case. The defense has spent months trying to tear it down, arguing consent, arguing faulty memory, arguing anything they can think of. But the evidence doesn't lie. Marcus and Sarah are sitting behind us. Rebecca is in the gallery watching. Dr. Park testified yesterday explaining in clinical detail exactly what Rohypnol does to the human body, to memory, to consent. Today is victim impact statements. Emma has one prepared, 5 pages, typed, edited, and re-edited a dozen times. She was supposed to read it herself. But this morning, standing in the courthouse bathroom, she looked at me and said, I can't look at him. If I look at him, I'll fall apart. So the prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney Jennifer Walsh, will read it for her. Diego sits at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, shackled. He looks smaller than his photos. Ordinary, like anyone you'd pass on the street and never look twice at. That's what makes it worse. He looks normal. Judge Catherine Morrison calls the court to order. We'll now hear victim impact statements. Ms. Walsh? Attorney Walsh stands. She's holding Emma's statement. She looks at Emma first, a question in her eyes. Emma nods. Walsh begins to read. Your Honor, my name is Emma Thompson. I'm 32 years old. I've been married to my husband, Jake, for 6 years. Before March 3rd, 2024, I loved traveling. I loved meeting new people. Her voice catches slightly, but she continues. I loved trusting the world to be safe. The courtroom is silent. Diego Martinez took that from me. He saw me at a resort bar, happy, on vacation, celebrating friendship, and he decided I was a target. He chose me. He planned it. He drugged me. And then he erased me. Emma is crying silently beside me. I hold her hand. I don't remember what he did to my body. The toxicology reports tell me I couldn't have. I was unconscious, chemically erased, but my body remembers. The bruises remembered, the pregnancy remembered, the shame remembered. Walsh pauses, looks up at the judge, then continues. For months, I thought it was my fault. I thought I drank too much. I thought I made bad choices. I thought... The words crack now. I thought I deserved it, because that's what we teach women. When something bad happens, look at what you did wrong. I glance at Diego. He's staring at the table, not looking up, coward. But I didn't do anything wrong. I existed. I was happy. And Diego Martinez decided that was enough reason to destroy me. Walsh's voice strengthens now, reading Emma's words with growing intensity. You stole more than my body that night. You stole my sense of safety. You stole my trust. You stole my joy. You stole 9 weeks of my life while I carried the biological evidence of your crime. You stole my marriage, or tried to. You tried to make me doubt my husband, my best friends, myself. But you didn't steal my voice. The courtroom holds its breath. And I'm using it now. I'm using it to make sure you can never do this again. I'm using it to tell every other woman you hurt, it wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve it. You are believed. And I'm using it to say 22 years isn't enough. A lifetime isn't enough. But it's a start. Walsh sets down the paper. That concludes Mrs. Thompson's statement, Your Honor. Judge Morrison nods, makes a note, then looks at Diego. Mr. Martinez, do you wish to make a statement before sentencing? Diego's lawyer whispers something to him. Diego shakes his head. Very well. Judge Morrison opens a folder, reads for what feels like an eternity. Then she looks up. Mr. Martinez, you have been convicted on 7 counts of drug-facilitated sexual assault, 5 counts of production of pornography without consent, and 3 counts of interstate trafficking for purposes of sexual exploitation. The evidence against you is overwhelming. The harm you've caused is incalculable. She pauses, lets the words settle. I've presided over sex crimes cases for 20 years. I've seen predators of every kind, but rarely have I seen someone who so methodically, so deliberately hunted and violated women for sport. You didn't assault once in a moment of poor judgment. You created a system. You perfected it. You documented it. You would still be doing it if these brave women hadn't found their voices. Emma squeezes my hand so hard I lose feeling in my fingers. Therefore, it is the judgment of this court that you be sentenced to 22 years in federal prison without possibility of parole. You will be registered as a sex offender for life. Upon release, if you live that long, you will be subject to lifetime supervision and prohibited from working in any capacity involving tourists, hospitality, or photography. 22 years. The courtroom erupts. Not with noise, but with exhales. Collective release. 7 women and their families breathing for the first time in months. Emma doesn't move. She just sits there, staring at the judge, tears streaming down her face. Then she exhales. 2 years of held breath, finally released. I pull her close. You did it, I whisper. You stopped him. She nods against my chest. Can't speak yet. Behind us, Sarah is crying too. Marcus has his arms around her, and around the courtroom, other women I've never met, women who share this terrible bond with my wife, are holding each other, crying, exhaling. Survivors' voices change laws. Share this if you believe in justice that centers survivors. As they take Diego away in shackles, he finally looks up, looks at Emma, and for just a second, I see something in his face. Not remorse, not shame, just the flat, empty look of someone who got caught doing what he thought he'd never answer for. Then he's gone. Through the doors, into custody, into a cage where he belongs. Judge Morrison bangs her gavel. Court is adjourned, and it's over. 2 years later. Emma and I are standing in our kitchen, the morning sun coming through the window, hitting the wall where we hung a photograph. It's a new photo taken on the courthouse steps after Diego's sentencing. All 4 of us, me, Emma, Marcus, Sarah, arms around each other, exhausted but whole. Below the photo, Emma's handwriting on the mat. We don't abandon survivors, we become family. She's been looking at it every morning for 2 years. Says it reminds her that she made it through. Jake, she calls from the bathroom. Her voice is different this time, not scared, not confused, excited. I walk in, she's holding a pregnancy test, 2 pink lines. "We agreed to start trying last month," she says, and she's smiling, really smiling. The first genuine, unguarded smile I've seen since before Costa Rica. "I thought it might take a while, but..." I pull her close, kiss her forehead. "You're sure you're ready?" "I'm sure." She looks down at the test. "This time it's ours, every cell, every heartbeat, every choice." And I realize something. This is what healing looks like. Not forgetting, not even forgiving. Diego Martinez will rot in prison, and Emma will never forgive what he did. But healing looks like choosing joy again, choosing trust again, choosing to build the life that was stolen and reclaim it as your own. 9 months later, I'm standing in a delivery room, holding Emma's hand while she pushes, while she screams, while she brings our daughter into the world through strength and choice and love. When the doctor places our baby in Emma's arms, she looks at me with tears streaming down her face. "She's ours," Emma whispers, "completely ours." Our daughter has Emma's eyes and my nose and absolutely no connection to trauma, to violence, to anything except 2 people who chose each other over and over through the worst thing either of us could imagine. We name her Hope, not subtle, but we don't care. 6 months after Hope is born, we have a dinner party, just the 4 of us, me, Emma, Marcus, and Sarah. Like old times, but different now, harder won, more precious. We're in our dining room, Hope asleep upstairs in her crib, the monitor on the table between plates of food. No one's really eating because we're talking too much. "Do you remember," Marcus says, "when this all started, when we all thought..." He doesn't finish, doesn't need to. "I remember thinking I'd lose you," I tell him, "my best friend, because I was looking for someone to blame." "I remember thinking Emma hated me," Sarah says quietly, "that our friendship was over." Emma reaches across the table, takes Sarah's hand. "Our friendship was tested, but it didn't break. We didn't let it." "We don't abandon each other," I say, and the motif sounds different now. Not desperate, not a plea, just a fact. A foundation we built and tested and proved. Sarah smiles. "We become family." Marcus raises his glass. "To found family." We toast. And I look around the table at these 3 people who've seen me at my worst, who've walked through fire with me, who chose to stay when staying was hard. What does family mean to you after trauma? Blood family or chosen family? Share your story in the comments. I read every one. Later that night, after Marcus and Sarah leave, Emma and I stand in Hope's nursery, watching her sleep. She's 6 months old now, starting to laugh, starting to reach for things, starting to become her own person. "Do you think we'll ever tell her?" Emma asks quietly. "About what happened? About how close we came to falling apart?" I finish. "Maybe, when she's old enough. When she needs to know that hard things happen, but families survive them." Emma nods, leans against me. "I was thinking," she says, "about that night, March 3rd, the night everything changed. Yeah, I don't remember it. I'll never remember it. But I remember everything after. I remember you standing beside me when you could have walked away. I remember Sarah telling her story so I wouldn't feel alone. I remember choosing to heal. I remember..." Her voice catches. "I remember becoming stronger than I ever thought I could be." "You were always that strong," I tell her. "You just didn't know it yet." She kisses my cheek. "We should sleep while she sleeps." We should. But for another minute, we just stand there watching our daughter breathe, watching the rise and fall of her chest, marveling at this impossible, perfect thing we made together. This life built not from trauma, but from choice, from love, from the kind of family that's forged in fire and comes out the other side, still standing. 3 years after the trial, Emma gets a letter. It's from another woman, someone we've never met. She was a victim too. Number 8. She didn't testify because she couldn't face it, but she followed the trial online. The letter says, "Thank you for being brave enough to speak. Because of you, I finally told my family what happened. Because of you, I stopped blaming myself. Because of you, I'm healing. You gave me my voice back. Emma reads it twice. Then she frames it, hangs it next to the courthouse photo. Why? I ask. Because this is what justice looks like, she says. Not just a sentence, not just a conviction. This, one woman telling another, you're not alone. You're believed. You're going to be okay. And I think she's right. Justice isn't just what happens in a courtroom. It's what happens after. It's survivors supporting survivors. It's choosing to speak when silence would be easier. It's building the kind of world where women don't have to carry shame for crimes committed against them. It's everything we've built, everything we've become. 5 years after Costa Rica, Emma and I take Hope to the beach. Not Costa Rica, we'll never go back there, but a different beach, a safe beach, our beach. Hope is 4 now, running ahead of us, chasing seagulls, collecting shells, being utterly, perfectly 4. Emma watches her with this look on her face, contentment mixed with wonder, like she still can't quite believe we made it here. You know what I realized? She says. What? Diego Martinez took 9 weeks of my life. 9 weeks I'll never get back, but that's all he gets. 9 weeks out of what I hope will be 90 years. He doesn't get to take anything else. Not my marriage, not my joy, not my daughter's childhood, nothing. She looks at me. We won, Jake. Not just in court. We actually won. And she's right. We did. Some families are born from love at first sight, from easy beginnings, from paths that never have obstacles. But some families, the strongest ones, are forged. Forged in crisis, forged in choice, forged in the decision to stay when leaving would be easier, to believe when doubt would be simpler, to love when love requires courage. Emma and I were forged family. Marcus and Sarah, forged family. The 7 women who testified and the 12 who are still finding their voices, forged family. Every survivor who chose to speak, who chose to heal, who chose to live beyond their trauma, forged family. 2 years after the impossible positive pregnancy test, Emma got pregnant again. This time it was impossible for all the right reasons. Doctors said the vasectomy had somehow, miraculously, partially reversed. 1 in a million odds. But we beat those odds. And when I held our daughter for the first time, when I saw Emma's face light up with joy, uncomplicated by trauma, when I felt this tiny life we created from love and choice and survival, I finally understood. Some families are born, some are forged. Ours was both. And that's the greatest victory of all.